Welcome to Ars Libri, an everyman's journey through Western literature, where we explore the literary arts book by book, reading, retelling, and reclaiming our rich heritage. If you're enjoying this content, please consider supporting the show by subscribing at arslibri.substack.com. Hello, listener. We're not going to have an introductory story this time because we're going over Russian fairy tales, plural, and there are many of them. We're only going to go over 4 of them for the sake of time, the 4 most popular. They are Ivan and the Wolf, or Ivan and the Firebird, Vasilissa the Beautiful, Marya Morevna, and the Princess Frog, or Tsarevna Frog. Whenever we go over fairy tale compilations like this, in a few weeks we'll go over Hans Christian Andersen's tales. We will do the same thing. Instead of covering one story and retelling it, we'll cover a selection of the stories, the most popular ones, retell each of them quickly, and then proceed with the discussion as we normally do. Please enjoy this episode on Russian fairy tales by Alexander Afanasyev. Russian fairy tales, they were originally compiled by a guy named Alexander Afanasyev in the 1800s, and there are over 600 tales. But many of them apparently are kind of the same tale. It's a variation. And I looked this up and found that many of the tales were told by different Eastern European groups. Dozens and dozens and dozens of them, like people that aren't even nations today. Oh. Like the so-and-so people, the Chani people or something. Mm-hmm. So you have the Latvian version of a tale, and the Belarus version of the tale, and then you'll have the so-and-so people version of the tale. But they're not a nation. Okay. But they are or were a people. Mm. So you have lots of versions. So I don't know how many you could actually reduce this down to, the 600. Mm-hmm. But I do know that there are some tales. We have the standalone book by Gennady Spirin.
Something like that.
Something like that. And it's called The Firebird. Mm-hmm. The Tale of the Firebird. That's it. But it actually takes several of the tales and makes them into one. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know that until I started looking into the facts of the matter. Mm-hmm. What we're going to do in this episode is just talk about 4 main tales. Mm-hmm. There are not only four main tales, but that's all we're going to do because there are 600.
Yeah, and a lot of the themes are repeated, like you said, in the other tales.
The themes are repeated.
So these are 4 of the most common.
And what I found throughout many of the compilation books that you can buy, so you can buy Alexander Afanasyev's book, but what you're going to get is maybe 40 of the tales in most common books, or maybe just 15 of them. Mm-hmm. The really popular versions on Amazon, for instance, the ones that you should probably get and read, like there's an everyman version. There are several others, and they usually come with 10 to 20 tales. And if you look at the different versions of it, we have another one. It's called Russian Fairytales. I forget who it's by, but the front is red and it's really colorful. Yeah. And you want to buy it because you think, oh, this is great, going to be good for art. Well, that one also has 10 or 15 tales in it, not 600. Mm-hmm. And so what I found is among all of them, there are about 4 to 6 or 7 common stories that are in all of them. Mm-hmm. And so we just chose 4 of those, and we're going to go over those 4. Mm-hmm. That's what we did.
Yeah. And what's neat about these Russian fairy tales is that they are fairy tales. Like they are just, there's lots of things that they have in common with all the fairy tales of all of the other peoples, all of the other European collections. Right. Like there's crossover. There's a lot of it, which is neat.
3 brothers, 3 princesses, 3 tasks.
3 times 9 tsardoms.
3 times 9 to the 30th, to this and that. Yeah. So there are these patterns, and nothing is as it seems, and the task is always more arduous. Mm-hmm. And you always need certain elements. So anyway, there are patterns. Let's do Ivan Tsarevich and the Grey Wolf first. We have a standalone book of this called Firebird, beautifully illustrated. I think it's by someone called K.Y. Kanuko. And this person's art is beautiful. Kanuko. Beautiful, many traditional fairy tales. And you can find Sleeping Beauty or Cinderella.
Cupid
and you get these. You can actually get coloring books by this person as well. And I bought a few, and my girls just like ham-fisted, colored it all. And
Some
I'm
of them do well.
Oh, okay. You know what? They're all beautiful.
They are.
Amazing.
They're all in the fridge.
They're all in the fridge. Okay. Ivan Tsarevich and the Grey Wolf. Ivan, the name Ivan is the name of the guy in almost every single story.
All of them.
Except maybe Alexei sometimes. Alexei is one. And Tsarevich just means son of the Tsar. Tsarevich means, I think, son here.
So it's like in the Grimms, it's the prince.
He's the prince. It's a prince. That's exactly what it is. He's the prince. Yeah. So basically, this story is Ivan Tsarevich has to protect a golden tree that the apples are being stolen. He doesn't know why. Turns out it's a firebird that's stealing it. And then his dad tasks him with going to find this firebird. And it's not so simple. This is how all of these tales work. Just imagine that you are going to the grocery store. And along the way, there are 50 obstacles that surprise you and other things that happen, and there's detours, and your tire goes flat, and there's a hurricane and a tornado. And
then when you get to the grocery store, there's like 20 different rules you have to follow in which aisle and in which order you
have to go to a different grocery store. So this is a modern take on a fairy tale, but that's basically what happens here. He has so many other things that happen, and it's an interesting tale. I'll just go through it really quickly. So there's the thief stealing the apples. Then there's the quest. It's actually his two brothers get tasked to go first. And then he asks his dad to go on the quest after. And his brothers are jealous of him because they tried to find the thief and they couldn't. And then he found it, and he had the firebird's feather, but the bird got away. So they have to go find this firebird. His dad wants it. The Tsar wants it. So they all go. The two brothers go first on the way. And they come to a fork in the road, and there's a sign that says, if you go this way, harm's going to come to you. If you go that way, harm's going to come to you. But if you go this way, you'll find success or something. And so the brothers don't know what to do, so they just go off to the side and go sit down and do nothing. Ivan comes, and he goes the way in one of the ways, and his horse is the one that gets harmed. Well, he meets the wolf on this way, and the wolf is his special helper. And the wolf's going to take him where he needs to go very quickly. They're able to soar through the sky in some versions, or they just go really, really fast in other versions. And they get to the firebird. And the wolf tells them, go, jump over this wall, it's in the garden. The firebird is in a cage. Open the cage, take the firebird, but don't take the cage, no matter what happens, Ivan. And guess what happens? Ivan sees the cage, and he thinks, but it's really pretty, and how am I going to take the firebird back without it? So he takes the cage, and then he gets in trouble. He takes the cage, and then suddenly a bunch of soldiers appear. And the Tsar of this kingdom where he is with the firebird says, who are you and why are you stealing? And then he tells him who he was, and he says, shame on you for stealing, but I'll let you go if you go steal a horse from me. So I'm like, wait a second. Like,
well, he didn't say it was rightly his. Like, he promised me this horse, but it's not here yet. He's like, you have to go and get this.
He has to go steal the horse, though. He has to go steal it.
Yeah.
It's just funny, though. That
it is.
The Tsar says,
naughty thief, go steal.
So in order to redeem yourself for having stolen, you have to go steal again.
Right.
There's just an irony there. I haven't thought through it much of whether this is a trope or not. I don't know, but just the irony of life that sometimes, I think of this movie, Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
I've said this before, but the main character, it's basically this guy who's a banker, gets framed for a crime, like murdering his wife, which he didn't do apparently, and he goes to prison. And in prison, at first he's a straight shooter, he's a by the book kind of guy, he was a banker, but after a while he learns to be a little devious and get by and pull one over on the prison warden guy who's running it all. And he tells his friend, he said, the irony is, on the outside, I was a straight arrow. I was a by-the-book rule follower, but it took coming to prison to make me a criminal. Mm-hmm. And it's just a moment of irony.
Right.
So Ivan wasn't a thief until he shows up and sees this, and then he steals it, and then the guy says, shame on you for being a thief. Now, to redeem yourself, go steal. Mm-hmm. Kind of a weird world, right? It's not a Christian morality. It's not something you see in the Bible where God catches Cain killing Abel and says, you murdered your brother, that's really bad, but look, I need you to go murder this other guy and then I'll forgive you. Like the Bible doesn't do that. We don't have that moral system. So why would Russia was Orthodox for a long time? Why would these folk tales have a non-Christian morality? I don't know. For me, the fairy tales, at least from the Brothers Grimm and others, have always been a very wild world of unexpected adventures. So it doesn't just fit neatly. It's like you said about Disney. This is not Disneyfied. Disney, we think of Disney as kind of sappy or romantic. Mm-hmm. But Disney is also, even the modern ones, they conform to the de jour morality that we have today. They don't actually break with it. And even the ones, even the modern ones like made today, they're going along with the dominant morality of the age. This is against it.
You know, it's funny though, you say that it's not a very Christian morality, but I find that out of all of the fairy tales, the Russian ones are the most Christian. I mean, not obviously that morality you just mentioned, but the Russian ones are the tales where you will find they cross themselves before they do anything.
Right.
There's other little bits of Christianity in there that you actually don't get in these other more Christian fairy tales.
Right.
It's the Russian ones where you get all of that.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so the next one with the golden mane horse is kind of the same thing. They go there, the wolf says, go in there, get the horse, but don't take the bridle. Whatever you do, don't pull it off the hook and take it. And of course he goes in there and sees this beautiful golden or whatever bridle, and he just wants to look at it. That's all he's doing. And he touches it, and suddenly a bunch of men show up. Same exact situation. The man, this time it's a sultan, because I think they went to the kingdom where it's a desert. So that's something that new with the Russian tales too. You often run into what's kind of like Islamic peoples.
Right.
That's not the European fairy tales. It's an entire Muslim kingdom that this guy went to. In the desert, here he is, and the guy is a sultan. And he's not in the tsardom, he's in a sultanate. Anyway, the sultan shows up and says, how could you do this? Same thing. Shame on you for stealing, but you can redeem yourself if you go steal Elena the Beautiful for me. And some versions say she's Yelena or Elena or Helen the Beautiful.
Isn't that funny?
Helen the Fair. Yeah, I know. She's the same. She's Helen.
Right.
Helen of someplace far, far away, 3 times 9 at the bottom of the sun or something. And they have to go find her. And so he goes to find the princess. And in the version that we have, there's different versions. Some versions mix it up and they add in this immortal god called Koschei that Ivan has to fight. But in the version we have, he's not in this one.
Yeah, he shows up in a lot of the tales.
Yes.
So he's a familiar character.
Right. So sometimes he has to go fight this deathless god who has her captive. But in Afanasyev's original version, she wasn't there. He just goes there and the wolf goes and snatches her up. Mm-hmm. And then there's the ride back and go through all the kingdoms. And each time Ivan has to ask the wolf, I don't want to give up Helen now. I love her now because she's so beautiful and she loves me. I don't want to give her up. So they have to trick the sultan on the way back and then trick the tsar to keep the horse on the way back. And finally they get almost back to their kingdom. And his brothers see him. And he's sleeping under a tree because he's tired. So is Elena. Anyway, I won't say the rest of the story about how it all plays out, but it's an interesting tale. And here is one, I think, really important observation about it for me. Ivan is sort of dull. He's a dull young man. He's the youngest. Every time he goes somewhere, he doesn't win the golden firebird by being courageous or dashing. He doesn't even get Yelena. The wolf does it, at least in the main version, again, that we have. He's a dull guy, but he lives in a world that's enchanted, that's full of mystery and wonder. So there are strange creatures, strange events, and strange fortunes that befall Ivan. The wolf just comes to help him. The sultans are about to kill him, But then they say, yeah, you know what? If you go get this thing for me, I'll let you live. So Ivan is sort of dull, but he lives in an enchanted world. This format is opposite to all modern supernatural tales. All of them. In all modern supernatural tales, the world is dull. But the main character is super special, awesome, magical. Mm-hmm. You have something powerful inside of you and you just need to let it out. Mm-hmm. But you otherwise live in this really dull world. Uh-huh. Spider-Man.
That's what I was thinking of.
The X-Men, Superman, all the comics, all the Avengers, all of the teen vampire romances. It's all this super dull, boring world. But you are special. And you need to let it out and let it shine and explore it and express it. And whatever it is, you have something, the spark of the divine in you, or whatever it is. This is also like the new Star Wars, where the world is kind of fantastic in that one, but it's very, very clear that the individual has this special chosen, the one. Even Dune, the book Dune, the world is kind of, special, I guess, in a way, but it's otherwise dull and boring, but you are this magical, powerful, rather than being a normal human being with no special qualities, and the world itself is enchantment and magical, and you have to kind of walk and navigate through it. I'm not the one that came up with this observation. This is something that G.K. Chesterton has said, and C.S. Lewis. Chesterton said this in his book Orthodoxy, in chapter 2, called The Maniac. He contrasts traditional fairy tales where ordinary heroes encounter extraordinary events. He contrasts this with modern what he calls psychological novels, where extraordinary individuals are in ordinary settings. Mm-hmm. Extraordinary individuals, Superman, the latest Superman one, he becomes a waiter for a while, then he's a reporter or something, and it's a normal setting, but he's Superman, oh my gosh. And what G.K. Chesterton said, it's not that this is ruinous or evil or something, but what he said is the modern man, the modern woman, modern boys and girls, there's a lot put on our shoulders in that moral universe where you're supposed to be something special. You're supposed to be different. You're supposed to be powerful. You're supposed to have these special qualities inside of you, and you are bearing a lot of weight. You are supposed to be better than the world around you. And in the other worldview, the world itself is enchanted and full of mystery. It's not, like in the modern worldview, the world is just matter in motion, following natural laws that are blind and always happen, and they're explainable. And so it's just dull, and it's sitting there waiting for me to manipulate it with my special powers. Mm-hmm. I can do whatever I want with it. It's just putty. And there's no mystery. There's nothing behind anything. There's no meaning in any of this. I'm here imposing myself on it. And what G.K. Chesterton said is, this leads people to develop megalomaniacal ideas. You think that you're some kind of divine being. It leads you to think unhealthy thoughts psychologically about the burden that you have to be master of your own fate and your own destiny. There's nothing left to providence or chance or fate or wonder or adventure. Even the imagination begins to shorten in this. And he said that in the elf land, in fairyland, in fairy tales, it's the opposite. That people are very normal. Ivan Tsarevich, he's the third son. Mm-hmm. And yet he's walking down the road and a wolf comes out and helps him. Oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure, I'll go with you. Get on my back, Ivan, let's go. And this magical world unfolds all around you. This is every fairy tale. The kids walk outside. Go ahead.
You're explaining Narnia really well through this, because it's for children. How much more ordinary can you get? Yeah. There's nothing special about these children. It was the world that they enter that held the magic. And that's super relatable, because we're children. When you're reading the book, it's like, well, I'm a child. Wow, magic is right around the corner. Instead of I have to assume greatness and become some, it's like, wow, that was neat, instead of.
Right.
shouldering the burden.
Yeah, you have this idea, though, in the modern world that everything is dull and explainable. And so the world is not a place of imagination. Mm-hmm. The world's not a place of wonder or mystery. The world is very logical and measurable and explainable, and it's boring. It's understood. I have to be special. Mm-hmm. And it's this burden that you put on yourself. What if the whole story was, Ivan has to be the swift running wolf, and Ivan has to be the prize, and Ivan has to be the glorious magical thing, and Ivan has to come up with his own adventure, and Ivan has, rather than the world itself being enchanted, and you just walk into it and experience it and adapt and react to it. And what G.K. Chesterton points out is we actually do live in a world of mystery. Mm-hmm. God put two people in a garden who were fully formed on day one with a talking snake and an apple that if you pick it, you ruin everything. That's magic. That's mystery. That's enchantment. That's the world of the Bible. And it sounds like a fairy tale. It sounds like, no, Pandora, don't open that box. Oh, you did. There goes the whole world. No, Adam and Eve, don't touch that apple. Oh, you did. There goes the whole world. I mean, it's very similar to say that these fairy tales are not for children, not for... And this is what Chesterton was responding to. There was a duchess back in his day who said that we shouldn't have fairy tales in schools anymore because they're stupid and they confuse children's brains, that they should only have modern fiction. And this is what he said. He said, their philosophy, the philosophy of this duchess, modern people, their philosophy means ordinary things as seen by extraordinary people. The fairy tale means extraordinary things as seen by ordinary people, and the fairy tale is full of mental health. We have mental health crisis among children today.
Yeah.
Mental health crisis where they turn on Instagram or something, and girls think that they have to be extraordinary. Mm-hmm. They have to be dazzlingly Yelena the Beautiful, abnormal, mm-hmm. right? And many, at least they believe that they can't. They want to, they see some things, they see some AI version of another woman. It's not even real. Mm-hmm. But then they think, oh my God, and then they become depressed over this. This is happening.
Oh yeah.
And there's so many studies that show this, and so many books now written in podcasts that talk about this. It's a tragedy. Women, they live in a dull world, and they have to be extraordinary. And if they're not, then you're not fit to be in this story. Your life story is boring and dull. But if you could see, no, I live in an enchanted world that my father made. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, read Chesterton's book, Orthodoxy, Chapter 3, called The Ethics of Elfland, which we're going to do a podcast on this, by the way. That chapter, we'll read it and talk about it. So you can watch it or listen to that episode. But he basically says that you do live in an enchanted world. God upholds all things by the word of his power. There's no reason why things should continue as they do other than the fact that God says so. And that infuses everything with wonder, but also stability, but enchantment. This is the worldview of the Bible. This is the worldview of Christians throughout the ages. This is the worldview of our European tales that go back thousands and thousands of years. And I don't see why we shouldn't step into it ourselves, not completely leave the rational mindset either. Lewis talks about this. He's the rationalist romantic, or the romantic rationalist. The modern world is all about reason and facts and brute raw reality. But we've left imagination. We've left the world of fairy. And because of that, we go insane, Chesterton says. The madman, chapter 2 in his book is called The Maniac. The maniac is someone who tries to calculate the clouds and he loses his mind. But the sane man is the man who puts his head in the clouds and he's healthy. Mm-hmm. He says something else real funny. He says that the fairy tale is more to be trusted than the history textbook.
Yeah.
Because the fairy tale is believed by everybody in the village, all the common people, all of them who are sane. And the history textbook is written by the one man in the village who is insane.
He's up in a tower by himself.
Yeah, he's by himself, just in there.
Right.
That's so good. That's so good. He actually says in one of his essays that folklore is German. If you translate it literally, it means common sense.
That's amazing.
Folklore means what everybody knows. The people's knowledge. Common sense.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Mind blown.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah. Well, one more thing about this particular tale, I couldn't help but be reminded by a very similar one, I think from the Grimms, where it's another set of three brothers. And it's like they go out of their way to focus on the youngest one as, like you said, being dull.
Yeah.
The oldest one is strong, and the second one's handsome, and then there's the third one.
Yeah, he's boring.
And he's like the runt, and that's the one that the story is about.
Yeah.
And that's the one who overcomes. It's the tale, they're all sent out into the forest to chop wood.
Yes.
And one of them cuts his leg off, or all these different things. But it's because they won't share their food with this dwarf who comes out.
Right.
And so a lot of times, it's these simple, dull ones. They have humility. They don't think much of themselves. And so they're willing to share what they have and obey orders and fulfill their quest. Go ahead. Yeah. You're itching to say something.
I got something to say. Okay, I'm listening to you.
It's fine. Go ahead.
Everything you said was wonderful. Mm-hmm. This is what the Bible says, though. David.
Right.
He was the runt. Mm-hmm. He was the one. Oh, surely not him. Yeah. Oh, no. I do have another son, but surely these are the ones in front of you. They're tall and stately and handsome. Yeah. No, don't get David. He's ruddy. And people think that meant he's a little scrawny 12-year-old out there. And he says, no, that's the one. God looks at the heart, not at the appearance like man looks. That's King Arthur, sword and stone. He's a little squire. He pulled the sword out, and none of the barons wanted to follow him. Like, no, not this guy. This guy? No way. We're going home. And he had to pull it out like 15 times. And then they had to fight a battle. He had to fight 11 kings to prove that he was the one that God chose. My point is, the Bible itself has this worldview. So if you read fairy tales and you think this is so stupid, this is not for me, this is for kids, this is all fake, completely just made up, I'd rather live in the rational, real world, you're less prepared for things that happen in the Bible, because in the Bible, a donkey talks, and an axe head floats, and fire falls from heaven, and a chariot comes, scoops some guy up, and he doesn't die, and men rise from the dead. All kinds of things happen.
The oil doesn't run out.
The oil doesn't run out.
The waters part.
Right. And when I read the Bible, Jesus broke the fish and the bread, and he fed 5,000. And my children are asking, how is that possible? And I don't get out my calculator and my abacus and my history science textbook and say, well, children, by the rational laws of life. It's a miracle, and miracles happen.
It's like when Ivan has to jump into the pot of the Baba Yaga. It's this big boiling pot.
Yeah.
And he just crosses himself and jumps in.
Yeah.
It's great.
Right. Or also, in the Bible, it was one foreign king, I forget his name, who came and asked for healing. And the prophet told him, go dip yourself in the river 7 times. And it's this muddy river, and the king is like, this is ridiculous. Go dip yourself in that dirty river 3 times, 6 times, whatever, 7. 18 times, and you'll be healed. So these fairy tales and the world of fairy are important, not just because they teach kids that weird things can happen, but that the world itself is enchanted. The Bible teaches us not merely that miracles can happen, but that the world is miraculous. Everything about the world is miraculous. It's enchanted, in other words, by God. The Bible says that God upholds the world by the word of his power. And Jonathan Edwards, perhaps the greatest theologian that North America has ever had, talked about God upholding the world by the word of his power, and how every day when the sun rises, we should count it a great miracle that it happened. Not because it moves by natural laws, inexorably just left alone by the God that walked away afterwards, this deistic sort of God, but a God who's intimately involved in every molecule of his creation. The world itself is miraculous, and we live in that miraculous world of wonder, of glory, of beauty, of possibilities. And we are God's creatures that get to experience this every day. And fairy tales and the world of fairy teaches us to see the world as one of enchantment and wonder. Let's do the next story.
Okay.
I got Vasilissa the Beautiful.
Yes.
Vasilissa the Beautiful.
The Russian Cinderella.
With a little less romance than the modern tales tell it.
That's true.
For us.
Yes. Yeah, and I don't know if it's technically considered a Russian Cinderella. There's just a lot of parallels that are hard to miss. You know, like she's incredibly beautiful. Her mother dies young and leaves her with a gift or with a blessing or, you know, with something to remember her by.
The gift is a doll.
Yeah, this one
helps her
a doll.
And has wisdom, and her dad dies. Right. Also eventually
remarries, but he remarries first before he dies.
Yeah, and then the stepmom with
right.
the daughters tell her to go clean and go do this and this and this. And they actually move near the woods in our version. And they're trying to move near the woods so that they can send her out into the woods, and hopefully she gets captured by the Baba Yaga, which is basically this witch in every tale, Baba Yaga. And that's what they're doing in the tale.
Right. Okay, so about the witch, I've noticed that in all the tales that she shows up in, she is always and only evil and wicked. Like there's no blur. Yeah. There's no, maybe she's going to be good to us this time. And sometimes she does actually help the characters, but if she does, it's begrudgingly, or it's because they have somehow wormed it out of her. Like it's like they've wrenched her arm into helping her. She's not happy about it. And I just like the really clean black and white, good versus evil.
Yes.
It's very refreshing to read that. And I think that's another reason to read fairy tales and to read them to your children. It's like, this is evil. It's always bad. Witches are always bad. You know, there's none of this modern desire to take the villain and turn them into the victim and the one to be pitied and the one who's actually noble deep down.
There's actually a cartoon about this one.
Really?
I looked it up. In Russia, it's in Russian. Wow. I don't know. Just look up the Vasilissa the Beautiful, or maybe it's Marya Morevna, the next one we'll do, because Baba Yaga shows up in all of those.
Right.
But it's a long tale. It's like an hour long. I skipped through it real quick just to see if it was worth watching. The wolf shows up in that one in the story, in the modern retelling of all these. And he's talking with Baba Yaga in one scene. And he's sort of bantering with Baba Yaga, like, oh, you don't look that old. She says, I'm 320. And he says, you look 170. You know? It's funny, but... And then he offers her a makeup compact thing, you know, in exchange for... So anyway... It's funny, it's bubbly, but you lose that fairy tale element of this is a witch and she's evil. It's not funny. The world, this is the difference. In today's world, we look back on all this and think, haha, silly. That was all fake. Those people, there were never such things as witches. Well, the Bible said there was.
Right.
And there's actually proof, because Saul went and dug up Samuel, had some witch dig him up. By incantation. Like, this stuff happened. This stuff happened. And are we to say that, in our rational world, there's no longer any magic, there's no longer enchantment, there's no longer witches, there's no longer sorcery or wizards or devils or demons or angels either.
Right.
I mean, if you get rid of the bad, you get rid of the enchanted world.
Right.
You get rid of all of this other stuff.
Right. But the Bible says there's angels there with us when we worship. Yes. It's like, you want to get rid of that? You're just going to cut that out? Well,
in the modern world, I hate to keep hammering this, but we just don't see this. We put it out of sight, out of mind.
The fairy tales put it back in mind.
The fairy tales put it back in mind. Thank you. And we live in that kind of world. We really do. Maybe it's not exactly as this fairy tale says. Maybe there's no Baba Yaga, but there are enchanted things that happen, or magical, or demonic.
Right.
Whatever word you want to use, there are spiritual forces at work that restrict us from doing good. These are evil forces. The prince of the power of the air, he's trying to rule and he's trying to devour us, and we have to resist him and pray to God. And all these sorts of things. You know, when Satan tempted Jesus and said, throw yourself down and the angels will bear you up, Jesus didn't say, that stuff doesn't happen. No, it could happen.
Right.
But I'm not going to tempt God. Jesus didn't say, we don't live in an enchanted world. None of that stuff's going to happen. Yeah, this is real.
Yeah.
And so these fairy tales put us in a mind frame to see the world as it actually is. Not that these tales are all explicitly true, but the world itself is true. That's what Tolkien said. Chesterton, George MacDonald, C.S. Lewis, all of these guys and many more, like the Inklings, talked about this on and on and on. Just imagine they're all meeting at a pub and they talk about this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
This is what they talked about.
Did you catch in this one that the reason why a witch rides a broom? I had never put that together.
She's sweeping
but
she's
clearing her trail.
I
was like, oh, wow, okay. It makes sense.
Yeah.
I never knew why she rode the broom.
I didn't either. I often thought maybe men made this up.
I don't know.
And then they thought, well, what are they going to ride? Like, well, women always have brooms. Just give them a broom. Like,
or maybe that was her excuse. Like, I wasn't up to devilry. I was sweeping.
She's sweeping her trail so no one knows where she came from.
Right. I thought, okay, that's creative.
That's interesting. The Cinderella story, she has to go and into the woods. Basically, her stepmother and stepsisters, they extinguish all the fires in the house. And they didn't have lighters back then or sparks from the kitchen stove or something. So she had to go get fire. And the nearest person was the Baba Yaga off in the woods somewhere. So she went over there to get the fire. And when she got there, it's just like Ivan Tsarevich. Once he goes on his quest, he's trying to do one thing, but he has to go on a quest to do it. And as he goes on the quest, he has other tasks he has to complete the quest to get this other thing.
Right.
It's kind of like a video game. I thought about this. These stories. Now, if you want proof that all ages of men would love this, just look at video games. It's not just kids playing video games. There are tens, hundreds of millions of males of all ages who play video games across the world. And a majority of the video games, I think, or at least at least half of them, are some kind of quest adventure game. And when you play these games, there's one quest, like a Elden Rings or a Scrolls or whatever game. There's one main character and he has to go do this one big thing to complete the game. But the game takes 50 hours of game time to complete, or 25 or something. Why does it take that long? Because you have all of these other quests along the way. Not just side quests, like go collect a bunch of plants and bring them to this guy. But actual side quests where you go save this other person and gain these skills. That's exactly the format of these tales. So modern games are basically based on fairy tales in the pattern and structure. And everybody loves them. They love them so much.
Well, it's in all the Greek tales too, like Hercules and Jason. They all have to go on these tasks, and while they're on these tasks, they have these other tasks that they have to accomplish.
Right.
And in order to get the sandal, he has to do all of these other things.
Right.
And like Perseus and Andromeda and Medusa, like it's round and round, and he gets sent all over the world in order to complete this one thing and win the girl finally.
Yeah. That's funny. There's some nice paintings or drawings of this tale, Vasilissa the Beautiful, where she's holding the skull on a stick and the skull has light coming out of its eyes. This is something the Baba Yaga created. Yeah, very lovely, and there's spider webs and mushrooms and all kinds of things in the forest with owls looking on. It's definitely dark and weird and kind of a gnarled fairy tale. It's different than even the Germanic stuff from the Brothers Grimm, and far different from Disney.
What do you make of the phrase that pops up in almost all of the tales? The morning is wiser than the evening.
Yeah, I love it. I like it. It's sort of like a folk wisdom that comes through.
Yeah.
There's a question that's asked, like, what are we going to do? Like, oh, just go to sleep. The morning's wiser than the evening.
Like, that happens so many times. That is literally the solution.
Yeah.
The main character just goes to sleep, and the animals that he's befriended or the doll that works for her, like, they just get everything done. Yeah. Kind of like Cinderella, she calls in the animals to help her, and they get everything done, and then she wakes up, everything's great. The morning is wonderful. I think it's good though, because it's true though. It's true in our world that you work better. Your mind is more sharp. You're more active.
Just
you have more energy, and all you've done is go to sleep.
That's the beautiful thing about the folk tales and the fairy tales, is that they are not from the realm of the aristocratic high class.
Yes.
They are folk tales, and they have this folk wisdom like, oh, just go to sleep and we'll figure it out in the morning. That's a very folkish thing to say. There's another saying in these tales where they have to travel a long way. The wolf has to run really far to get to the next kingdom. And it says, Whether it was a long way or a short way, nobody knows. But they got there.
And they do it again. There's another one. They say, and a tale or a journey takes longer than the tale to tell it. And they just like skip on ahead.
It sounds like some kind of weird folkish saying. There's another one in The 12 Dancing Princesses, which is from the Brothers Grimm. It's Germanic. The queen has 12 daughters, not at one time, but she has 12 daughters, but then she lay dying after the birth of the 12th one, and she calls the soothsayer witch lady to come tell her the future, what's going to happen to my daughters. And the soothsayer comes in and throws her little gems on the ground, her stones, and she says, 12 are the numbers of your daughter, like the hours in the clock, 1 through 12. Beautiful they are. I mean, she has this weird little way of turning words that basically means nothing.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. You would hear that in a back alley among some peasants, and there's a Baba Yaga back there, or a witch or something, and you're like, hey, grandmother, I need you to read my tarot card. And she's like, oh, very, future, you're a Libra, you're a Capricorn. And you're like, okay, just tell me my future, all right? I just cut to the chase. Mm-hmm. Let's move on to Marya Morevna. Can you tell the story?
Sure. So there's a prince, and I think he's a prince, and he has 3 sisters. And he needs to get them all married.
Yeah.
The father's dying, and he says, don't delay in getting them married. So the father dies, and then the son's like, all right. And they're out walking in the garden. There's a thunderstorm. A bird shows up. I think a crow? Nope.
There's a crow, raven, and an eagle, but I don't know what order.
The raven, okay. So a raven, a hawk. It was a hawk.
A hawk? Okay.
A hawk shows up in the middle of the storm. Not a parakeet. A hawk shows up and he says, hey, I'd like to marry the daughter. Mm-hmm. And the son's like, you okay with this? And he's handsome. And she's like, sure. So they go. And then a year later, the next daughter, an eagle comes for the next daughter. And she goes. And then the last one is a crow, but he ends up being the most handsome of them all. And they go. Mm-hmm. After a while, he's kind of lonely.
The prince.
The prince, he's by himself.
Yeah.
His father's dead. His sisters are gone and married in far off distant tsardoms. Yeah. So he's thinking, let me go visit them. And he goes off and
So again, this is a simple thing. He's going to go visit his family.
Oh, yeah.
This is very simple. I'm just going to go visit my family.
Right. I don't remember when he meets Marya Morevna.
As he's going out to find his sisters, the way I remember it is he's going out to meet his sisters, but first he comes upon a battlefield of slain warriors, and he thinks, oh my gosh, who did this? Who killed all these warriors? And one man says, it was Marya Morevna, who's this amazing princess. And so he goes, wow, I want to go meet this person. So he goes to where her tents are and meets her, and he spends some days there, and they fall in love, and they get married. And then after a time, she has to go back out to war with her kingdom. She has her own kingdom. And as she's leaving, she says, don't open the closet over there. And of course he does open the closet. This is the one thing you shouldn't do, right? Don't open the box Pandora. Don't open the box Psyche. Don't take the apple, Adam and Eve. And he does. And there's Koschei the immortal, or Koschei the deathless, who's a wizard and our demon, actually. He's in almost all the tales. Koschei the deathless. And Koschei is starving to death because he's in there and he's on chains against the wall. Marya's dad had captured him and he's starving. Well, Ivan doesn't know who this guy is and he thinks, I need to help this guy. So he gives him some water. Koschei gets strong again, breaks the chains, flees. He says, thanks, Ivan. You're never going to see your wife again, though. And he takes off.
He does it 3 times, and that's important. He asks him for water 3 times.
Three times.
There's that thing. Yeah. But it's there for a reason. Like, there's always, because he did it 3 times.
And it's a good way to write stories because children, at least listening to this, will 1, 2, 3, what's going to happen? They're like, ooh. Yeah. Well, anyway, he flees, goes and captures Marya Morevna and steals her, his bride, Ivan's bride, and goes to, or sometimes it's Alexei. The main guy's name is Alexei. Steals his bride and takes Marya back to Koschei's kingdom, which is beyond the sun, beyond a river of fire, and all kinds of crazy stuff. And now he has to go searching for his wife. Right. And I think that it's then that he comes upon his sisters and their husbands' kingdoms.
Right. He was having a hard time finding them initially before he met Marya Morevna.
Yeah.
So now he continues his wanderings, and he comes to a big kingdom, and there's a hawk in a tree who turns into his brother-in-law, and he says, "Hi, come on in, come visit, stay a while." He stays a few days, and he's like, "All right, but I really gotta go find my wife." And so like, "Okay, just leave your silver spoon."
Such a weird thing to say.
I know. The first time I read it, I was like, right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I would have said. Just leave your spoon. But remember, I feel like a while back we read this story when we first read it. We had to look into this because we're like, that is so strange. What in the world?
Yeah.
Well, he goes to each brother, and each brother has him leave a silver, which I think is important. It's silver, a silver utensil. So he leaves his spoon with the first one, his fork with the next one, and his snuff box with the third.
Yeah.
And
all silver.
Right. They were all silver. But it was funny that like, well, who's just carrying around a spoon and a fork and with them?
Yeah.
And it was because like if you showed up at someone's house, you know, they would show you hospitality, but that didn't always extend to utensils. You know, they were rare at the time.
They were.
Not everybody had them. Yeah. And so it was expected that you had your own and you carried it with you wherever you went.
And silver was precious because it's a precious stone or precious metal, but it's often good for antimicrobial. I don't know if they knew that back then, but it actually keeps clean rather than a wooden spoon.
Oh, I was thinking it was important because of the superstitious nature.
Well, there's other things too. There's other things too. And sometimes the spoons and things, especially if you're rich, I mean, he was a Tsarevich, so it might have had like a little image of him engraven on the things or something.
True, yeah.
If they wanted to look at these items, they said, and remember him.
Yes.
So they give him he gives them these items and moves on.
Right.
What happens basically after this is that he makes his way finally to Koshchei's place after encountering some animals and encountering Baba Yaga, who tells him what to do, and he has to serve the Baba Yaga for a while and do her bidding to get the news or the information he needs from her to be able to cross the fiery river and all this crazy stuff. And he goes there and steals Marya Morevna, and they run off. Well, Koshchei comes back from hunting with his horse that can run and fly all over the world in an instant. And he catches up to Ivan and says, I'm taking her back. I would kill you, but you saved my life 3 times. So I'm going to save your life this time, but you've only got 2 more times. And of course, this goes on a few more times. And finally, on the 3rd time, Koshchei says, this is the 3rd time, I'm going to kill you now. And he kills Ivan. He chops him up in little bits. And then he puts Ivan in a barrel and throws it in the sea or something like that. And then his brothers-in-law come with their special powers and some water of life and death.
Well, it's because they're all birds. So one of the crows was flying around. They're like, hey, we saw something in the sea.
Yeah.
And so the brothers all get together like, we need to investigate this. And
so they go and they eventually patch him up, and they do. What?
They do. They have to. What's funny is they always have to pour the water of death first.
Right.
I don't understand that.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
And then they pour on the water of life. Like they have to have both of them.
Water of death patches the body up, and then the water of life gives life to it.
Yes.
So I don't know. That's what happens. He comes back to life. Then he has to go. Actually, this is when he goes to the Baba Yaga to get the horse. He has to get a really fast horse.
Right.
And of course, he has to perform all these deeds, all these tasks to get the horse.
And animals help him.
And animals help him because
Baba Yaga, he did them a good deed.
The Baba Yaga sets him up to die. She says,
she does.
You have to watch my horses for a while, and then I'll give you a horse. But you know, I'm going to actually try to destroy you while you're doing this.
Right.
Anyway, he gets the horse and goes and takes his bride back. And then this story is also called The Death of Koshchei the Deathless.
Okay.
And it's a famous story. It's a really famous story because it's the time that he died. It's the place where he died. And all the adventures that Ivan or Alexei, whoever the main character is, all the adventures he has to go through are significant and big and hard. And Marya Morevna herself is this warrior princess who controls kingdoms and slaughters armies. So you have these really big, important people who are involved. And Ivan eventually does the task, and with the help of his horse, overthrows Koshchei the Deathless. The Deathless dies. And what's interesting, in some of the tales that I've read, they chop his body up and burn it.
Right.
Which made me think of vampires.
Exactly. That's why I brought up the silver.
Ah. Yeah, but did the silver come back into play?
It's important.
It's important. He's the deathless.
Yeah.
And in some stories, Koschei doesn't have a heart.
Oh, okay.
He took his heart out and put it somewhere else. This often happens.
His life. Yes, I remember that.
Sauron did this with his power.
Yes.
Lord Voldemort did this in Harry Potter.
Wow.
There's all kinds of tales in fairy tale lore where someone takes a part of himself and puts it elsewhere for safekeeping or something. But Koschei doesn't have a heart. And then when they kill him, they can't just, like, he can be chained up. He said he was chained up for 10 years, just sitting there for 10 years.
Wow.
And he didn't want food, he wanted water.
Right.
That's all he needed.
Yeah.
Just water to regain his strength, which isn't blood. But, I mean, there's something going on there. There are a few important things that happen in this tale. One is that the wife needs rescuing. Usually, in tales, there's a determined young man that has to overcome obstacles to obtain a bride.
Right.
Whereas in this one, he gets a bride really easily. In fact, an entire army of men are slaughtered, and he shows up afterward and just walks to the woman's tent and marries her. I mean, what is that? You just get this bride. And she was the one that killed them all with her army.
Right.
And she decided to marry this guy, and I'm thinking, what kind of man is this? She slaughtered all these other men, but marries this one. Why not slaughter him too? He must be a really manly man, or a brave, a courageous man or something. But he gets the bride really easily. In this tale, though, he doesn't have to fight a dragon to gain his wife. Sometimes, I guess, you have to fight dragons or overcome obstacles to retain your wife. And I think this is something that's important for men to contemplate, that once you get the wife, sometimes you still need to fight for her. Am I being romantic right now?
It's romantic.
Sometimes you need to fight to retain your wife, whatever the obstacles are. And there are obstacles. We just talked about Anna Karenina,
Yes.
a story by Leo Tolstoy. It's Russian. And Anna is married to a man, but another man comes and woos her away. And Anna's husband doesn't fight for her.
Right.
He tries to stop it for the sake of decency and propriety and appearances.
Yeah.
But he doesn't fight for her.
He doesn't.
He just lets her go. And she, at the beginning, even tried to stop herself from being wooed and by appealing to her husband to take her in his arms or something, just be passionate with me.
That's what did it, is she realized that he wasn't going to fight for her.
He's not going to fight.
Why am I here?
He's not going to fight for her.
Right.
So the Cinderella story is the man is going to look for his bride. He's going to go get her. The knight in shining armor story is the man's going to storm the castle, kill the dragon, and get the woman, and then marry her, and then the story's over. But this story is, he gets married, and then he has to fight for her afterwards. Koschei steals her away 3 times. The typical stories are a man fights to win his bride, but what happens after marriage? Is everything always safe? Is everything always good? Is the marriage always secure? Even if there are no wooers who try to steal your wife away, there are lots of factors in the world today that try to steal your wife away. There's discontent that traffics in so many friendship circles and little networks and places. There's so many ads and commercials and movies that are targeted, songs at women, that says you shouldn't be content, you shouldn't be with your husband, you deserve better, you need to do it, and the woman is enticed away. And then of course there's men as well, but you gotta fight for your woman. Are you willing to continue to fight? It's a long, arduous fight, and he has to go through a lot to retain his wife. He has to go find this deathless kingdom far away, then he gets killed doing it. He literally dies for his wife, comes back to life, then he has to go find all kinds of stuff.
That's great.
Yeah, it's so much. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
This is, if you think about it, the tale is quick. These tales are 10 pages long each or something. It goes by quick. But if you just stop and think about it for a bit, let your own imagination, this is the thing with fairy tales, modern tales fill in all the details for your imagination.
Yeah.
Old tales, they tell it to you in a short time frame, but your imagination is supposed to fill in all the gaps. It's like a Shakespeare play or something. you infuse it with the action that isn't really there, and the feelings and the emotions and what he would have thought and what I would have done in that situation. My wife is stolen away by some deathless, immortal god.
Right.
What do? You're like, well, there she goes. I don't know what to do. I guess I'll just walk around and find another one, because I found this one really easily. Right? That's the easy route. I'll just walk around. Worked the first time. No, he is a man in pursuit of his wife. And he goes once, twice, 3 times. He dies and gets chopped up. He comes back to life and goes back. I mean, this guy is impetuous.
Yeah.
This is an amazing tale.
Right. What's funny, though, is this tale also reverses things in another way. This time, it's the wife who gives instructions to her husband.
Yeah.
Because in so many tales, it's now wife or now young woman, like, don't do this. And the woman always does it. But in this one, the wife goes and she says, now husband, don't do this. And he does it. And, and then
and she's like, why'd you do it?
Right. Which I thought was just a funny inversion of things. But I think it just shows how important trust is, in any relationship, really, that, they're showing that, the trust. Something else I realized about this was that maybe it's particularly a Russian thing about this, that it was the wife who told her husband what to do, because I was thinking this shows up in Dostoevsky's work, which again is just like the fairy tales and the folk tales are for the peasants, for the common people. Dostoevsky writes of the common people. And a lot of times in his stories, that's the setup that you have. You have the wife who rules the roost and the husband who begs and pleads and is on his knees in front of his wife. The husband suffers her beatings, her pulling at his hair, kicking him, just all kinds of things. And you really get this sense that the home is the wife's domain and the husband better get in line or he's sleeping elsewhere. Like, this happens a lot in his stories. And I think maybe that's why they have a tendency to alcohol. Because, no, I'm serious. That's the other thing in his work. It's the drunk peasant. It's like, my wife kicked me out and I've got nowhere to go. And they turn to the drunkenness. And that's probably why she kicked him out, was because he was drunk. But I just think it's funny that there's this sense of like happy wife, happy life. And we see that a little bit with Marya, maybe. I don't know. But that was just something I thought was interesting.
Well, I will say a good word for Marya, though. She was kidnapped by a god, a demon god thing. And he took her and didn't just put her in the closet. He took her because he wanted her.
Yeah.
As a bride, as a companion, as a wife. And we're not told what went on when they got out there. But every time Ivan shows up, she is not being his faithful little wife.
She's not in the garden.
She's not being Koshet's faithful little wife.
Yeah.
She is being faithful to her husband. And she's over there with Koshet. Now, look, I don't know, Koshet, he's always depicted as being evil, and we associate that with being ugly. But he's a god, okay? He's immortal, he's strong, he's powerful, he's wealthy. And she is just kidnapped to go with this guy, and she's there for a long time. While Ivan or Alexei is trying to get to her, every time he gets there, she's faithful. She's faithful to him, and she's like, oh, I'm glad you're here. And even when he dies and is chopped up and comes back to life and goes and gets her, she's still faithful.
Right.
She saw her husband be killed and chopped up, and then this god swoops her off. I know this sounds ridiculous. If a god came and swooped you up, is it kind of flattering a little bit that a god wants you? Like, all the women's rom-com romance is about this kind of stuff. This immortal-looking being is pursuing you, and it's kind of flattering. Okay? She resists it. And she does not want Koshet at all, and she's faithful to him. And I think part of it, she comes near to despair, but she never lets go of her love of Alexei and her hope that he'll come for her.
Okay, I gotta say also, in the defense of the women in Dostoevsky's tales, they're also faithful and loyal to their husbands. They are, even though a lot of times they're scumbags. They always welcome them back. They do. They might beat them or something, but it's like they are faithful Like, I see that it very much is a trend, that they are faithful to their husbands. It's a good thing. Okay, one of my favorite lines, though, from this story was said by the horse. Do you remember Koschei's horse? They're riding to try to catch Ivan or Alexei, whatever, and the horse sees his brother, right? Because Ivan or Alexei had to go get the brother's horse. And the horse turns to Koschei's horse and he says, "How can you be a slave to such an unclean monster?"
Yes.
And the horse is like, "You're right."
Right.
And he throws him off.
Right.
And that's done. It's done. Like, they're able to kill him and they've defeated Koschei the Deathless. And that's what did it, because he was unclean. I just thought, there's another little taste of Christianity there.
Yes.
That the horse brings up. Like, the horses are reverent and understand these things.
Yeah.
I just thought it was great.
That's good. The last one is Tsarevna Frog, the frog princess.
Yes.
We're running out of time, though.
Okay, we could be quick.
So I'll just say this one is really good. It's a bunch of threes again. There's three brothers. The Tsar, their dad, says they have to go get married. And they have to go in whatever direction that they shot their arrow.
Yeah.
And so the youngest son goes off and it lands in a swamp, and a frog has it in its mouth, and he has to marry the frog. And his brothers make fun of him. His dad doesn't let him get out of his command. And so he marries the frog. The youngest one marries the frog.
But he does it because right away he notices it's witchcraft. Like,
it's witchcraft.
He sees the frog sitting with the arrow. He's like, "Oh,
yeah." And his brothers make fun of him. They're like, "Oh, you got the queen of the swamp." Oh, yeah. And they bring their wives back, and then the dad wants to test the domesticity and fittingness of their new brides. And the three tests are very domestic oriented.
Yes, they are.
You have to sew something, you have to bake something, you have to weave something. And each time, the frog princess weaves and sews and bakes amazingly better, and it's through enchantment.
This is just like the tale. It's a Russian tale where he goes and he finds a mouse. You remember that one?
No.
Where he goes into the woods, he finds a mouse, and for whatever reason, he has to marry this mouse. And she does the same thing. She impresses everyone with all of her domestic arts, and then she shows up in a carriage. Like, it's the same story. Okay. I guess with different characters, a mouse instead of a frog. But that's one of the repeats.
Okay. Well, this one turns out, it actually goes in a different direction than you would think, because after she proves herself, the frog princess proves herself to be way better of a wife, at least in the domestic arts, than the other women, who can't bake at all or sew at all. She then transforms herself into a beautiful princess, but the prince throws the frog skin away, and then the curse comes back, and now he has to go on an adventure to save his wife. So this is kind of the same thing. It's not over. Once the marriage happens, the tale begins. The adventure begins. And this is something I like about the Russian fairy tales. The Brothers Grimm fairy tales, my daughters have noticed this, they end at the marriage. You get married and it's over, happily ever after, you ride off into the sunset, nobody knows what happens afterwards. But the Russian fairy tales, you get married right away. That's not the problem. The problems or the adventure, the excitement, the troubles the tasks come after marriage. After you get married, then the adventure begins. And you know what? I used to tell people this, young people this, because a lot of boomers today, and even when we got married, which wasn't that long ago, but we got married a few years ago, boomers will tell you that you should wait till you're older to get married. You should live together for a while, in fact, first, and you shouldn't get married young. No. And the millennial generation, at least the way the millennials are raising their children, it's the opposite. Like, no, I'm going to tell my kids to get married young, or they don't have to, but it's good if you want to. It's good if you want to. It's not something to avoid. Like I remember we got this book on the shelf right here, Passion and Purity by Eliot. And the whole idea is just you have to pursue other things. Even if you're in love and you're together and you could get married, you need to just split apart for like missions or college or career.
You are treading on holy ground.
Or whatever. You need to break apart and not get married and go do these other things, because marriage is going to disrupt your real mission in life, your real purpose in life. It's going to create barriers to, and I was thinking before I married you, but as we got married, I was thinking marriage is the adventure. We're going to go through adventures. Well, let's just do it together. Why not? Why not get married and go do this thing together?
Right.
And if I can't do it with you, is it worth doing? Is it worth doing more than being with you is worth doing?
Right. The other view seemed to be more of, you just have to find someone else who has the same mission you do.
Exactly.
And then you can combine forces and be that much better together.
Yeah. Right.
But it's not at all a sense of the husband has a mission and he's going to get a wife to help him in it. And he'll teach it to her. You know, like he'll
right.
help her help him. But that's not what that was. I'm glad that you're saying that, because I think it's actually dangerous.
I remember talking to young people about this, students in school, and whenever life topics come up, with their parents' full knowledge, but I would say this same thing. If you have the opportunity, it doesn't mean you have to get married young, but if you have the opportunity, you're 18, you're 20, whatever it is, and you got someone there, and they're thinking when you're thinking it, and let's go get married. Why not go to college married? Why not? Like, why is this stop? Why is marriage stop? It's not stopping you. This is an adventure. And are there going to be challenges? Yes. Yeah. But what are you wanting to live? This boring, weak life where you have no troubles, like no obstacles to overcome to make you stronger? To me, this is the unfulfilled life, is one of no adventures, no obstacles. The unexamined life is not worth living. And I would say the unadventurous life is not worth living. Have adventures. Do it married. Why not? And it doesn't mean you're like, if you seriously think that getting married is going to bring trouble upon your career success, you're thinking completely wrong. Yeah. Anyway, and they get married, and then the adventures and obstacles and trials come. And that's more actual to the way of things. You can't delay marriage hoping that you're going to delay problems to work out with your spouse.
Well, I think also people have the idea that you have to have all of your adventures before you get married.
And then, yeah.
Yeah, and then you settle and
Right.
you live a boring life.
Yeah.
Like, what an awful way to look at that.
What an awful way to look at your wife.
I know.
Like, hey, I've already fulfilled all my personal fun in life that I want to have, and now I'm getting you. Yeah. Right? Like, I've driven the Ferrari, I had the motorcycle, I flew in the airplane, now I'm getting the sedan. Thanks though. I hope you had a good time in your previous life also. Yes. And now we can both settle down and pay a mortgage.
And just wear sweatpants and be happy.
Yeah, right? Like, why not do this together? Marya Morevna has got a kingdom, and anyway.
Yeah.
And the Frog Princess is an amazing story. I think we're just preaching here at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I had one more thing to preach about. And it's just the idea that all the fairy tales have this in common, and that beauty is a good thing. Beauty is a prize to be won. It's worth daring. It's worth going on all of these adventures on. Because if you think about it, that really is the catalyst for all of this. It's just this woman's beauty. And we don't like that idea today. But the other thing I like is that the most beautiful woman is also the woman who is the most virtuous.
Yes.
She's the most skilled. She has all of the charms. She has all of these virtues.
Right.
And we think, how unjust. If she gets to be the prettiest, then surely someone else should get to be the most intelligent, or someone else should be the most virtuous. But I really like this, that the most beautiful also is the most virtuous. I feel like this is some kind of deep truth that's like written in the fabric of the world.
I would add to this, people look at these stories and think, oh, those are just a bunch of tropes made up long ago.
Yeah.
And we need to subvert them. These are folk tales.
Right.
These are the oral tales told among common folk. It wasn't some weird, perverted, aristocratic madman who made this up. It's the common folk. So the normal people have believed what you're saying.
Right.
So we have literary critics who come along, ugly scholars who live ugly lives, and critique this and deconstruct it and invert it. And you have ugly producers in Hollywood with ugly little souls that come and make movies about how it's the actual subversion of all of these, where the marginalized is actually the most refined, and the most pretty is actually the ugliest. and they flip it all. When in reality, the mass of common people have always believed there are evil, dark, wicked people, and there are bright, beautiful, good people.
Right.
And those are the two tropes that they have in their mind, and that's how they live their lives. This is the common folk tale.
Right, and the only reason we wouldn't want it to be so is envy. You know, it's because they have more, a greater share than I do. But that shouldn't keep us from wanting a beautiful person to also be good. You know?
Yeah.
Like that should make us happy.
I would expand that a little bit and say it's envy, and that person, like that beautiful guy or woman or whatever, has all of these characteristics and I don't. I want to bring them down to my level.
Oh, yeah.
I want to bring them down. So envy isn't just I want what they have. It's also they shouldn't have that.
Yeah.
And I should. And if I can't, you can't either.
Right.
So I'm going to rewrite these tales to where nobody ever has this. And I'm going to bring you down.
Right. That's why so many common modern stories are about a girl who's just, you know, average or plain and somehow still really beautiful, but, you know, just like you.
Well, we spent too much time talking about these. I would recommend get the Russian fairy tales illustrated by Ivan Bilibin, all eyes, Ivan Bilibin, illustrated by that guy, and get the compilation books. You can get the standalone books. There's a few good ones. We mentioned them already. I'll put them in the link below. Thank you for listening. If you're enjoying this content, please consider supporting the show by subscribing at arslibri.substack.com. Your support enables me to produce this content. Subscribers also get bonus episodes, detailed book lists, and more.